Adrift in stardust. Nolan Drake watched through the viewport as the shuttle docked with the Elysium horizon, the research vessel's sleek silhouette barely visible against the swirling nebula of the Cassini Rift. His orders were simple: repair the quantum drive, get the ship moving, and return to Earth Station Gamma with whatever research the science team had salvaged. "Final approach complete," announced the shuttle's pilot. "Welcome to your new home for the next month, Engineer Drake." Nolan shouldered his kit bag. "If I do my job right, it won't be a month." The airlock cycled open with a gentle hiss, revealing a dimly lit corridor. "Power conservation protocols," Nolan noted mentally. "The damage must be worse than reported." "Engineer Drake," a melodic voice greeted him as he stepped aboard. "I'm Lieutenant Vera Nowry, First Science Officer." Nolan turned and found himself facing an Etherean woman. Her skin held the soft purple hue of twilight, accentuated by luminescent markings that traced elegant patterns along her temples and down her neck. Her eyes, large and iridescent, studied him with an intensity that made him momentarily forget protocol. "Lieutenant," he managed finally, offering a formal nod. "I wasn't informed there were Etherians on this mission." "Just me," she replied, her expression carefully neutral. "The Elysium Horizon is a joint research initiative. I was assigned to monitor the quantum resonance experiments." She gestured down the corridor, which, incidentally, are what damaged our drive. Nolan fell into step beside her, noticing how she moved with a fluid grace that humans never quite mastered in the ship's artificial gravity. "The official report said cosmic interference caused the drive failure," he said. Vera's lips curved in the ghost of a smile. "The official report was diplomatic. My people provided the quantum matrix technology with specific operational parameters. Your captain decided those parameters were conservative." The corridor opened into the ship's central hub, where a skeleton crew of 6 humans worked at various stations. They glanced up briefly at Nolan, their expressions a mixture of relief and wariness when they noticed Vera at his side. "We've been adrift for 16 days, Vera continued. "Life support is stable, but limited. Communications are intermittent at best. And the Etherian conclave hasn't sent help?" "We're in contested space," she replied, her voice dropping slightly. "Officially, I shouldn't be here at all. If the conclave learned of our position, they'd let you die to maintain plausible deniability and ensure your Earth Alliance doesn't acquire our technology." Vera stopped before a sealed door. "This is engineering. The quantum matrix is unstable, releasing temporal distortions. The last engineer who attempted repairs is still in medical, experiencing time at 1/3 normal speed." Nolan met her gaze. "Is that concern I hear, Lieutenant?" "Practicality. If you suffer the same fate, our chances of survival decrease significantly." "Then I better not fail." Nolan palmed the door control. Vera caught his wrist, her touch surprisingly warm. "Engineer Drake, there's something else you should know. The damage isn't just affecting the drive. It's affecting reality itself around this ship. Space-time is folding. If we don't stabilize it soon, we'll be trapped here forever," Nolan realized. "Or erased entirely," Vera whispered. "So please, be careful." The engineering bay was a symphony of flashing warning lights and holographic error messages. Nolan circled the quantum matrix core, its crystalline structure pulsing with unstable energy that distorted the air around it. "Meridian, display previous repair attempts and outcomes," he called out. "The Engineer Drake, I've compiled the data. Be advised that temporal anomalies have corrupted 23% of the records." "Show me anyway," Nolan said, pulling open a panel to reveal the intricate circuitry beneath. Vera entered the bay carrying a translucent tablet. "The science team's observations," she explained, handing it to him. Their fingers brushed during the exchange. Meridian sensors detected elevated heart rates in both beings, but made no comment. "These readings can't be right," Nolan muttered, studying the data. "According to this, the drive isn't malfunctioning. It's evolving." Vera moved beside him, her proximity causing a subtle shift in the local energy field. "The Etherian quantum technology is semi-organic, it adapts to its environment. But it wasn't designed to interact with human systems, Nolan realized. Our stabilizers are forcing it into patterns it's trying to reject. For the next 6 days, they worked in tandem, Nolan modifying the human components, while Vera communicated with the Etherian technology in ways that defied conventional engineering. The crew watched their collaboration with growing unease. Alliances between their species were rare and often short-lived. Meridian observed them during their rest periods too. Vera teaching Nolan about Etherian constellations in the observatory, Nolan sharing Earth music that made her luminescent markings pulse in rhythm. The AI calculated a 78% probability of emotional attachment forming, a variable not accounted for in the mission parameters. On the 7th night, as they calibrated the final adjustments, a message broke through the communications array. "Incoming transmission," Meridian announced. "Origin, Earth Alliance Command." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing Admiral Reeves, his weathered face grim. "Drake, report status." "The drive is nearly operational, sir. Lieutenant Nowari's assistance has been invaluable." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "The Etherian is still aboard?" "Listen carefully, Drake. New intelligence suggests the Elysium Horizon's research was cover for testing weapons-grade applications of quantum technology. Your new orders are to secure the drive schematics and return on the emergency shuttle. The Horizon is to be scuttled." Vera stiffened beside him, her markings flaring with emotion. "Sir, there are 7 people aboard," Nolan protested. 6 humans will be evacuated. The Etherian presence is a diplomatic complication we can't afford. This comes directly from the Joint Chiefs. After the Admiral's image dissolved, silence filled the engineering bay. "You knew it," Vera said, her voice unnaturally calm. "Your people planned to reverse engineer our technology all along." "I didn't know," Nolan insisted, reaching for her. She stepped back. "It doesn't matter. My people are no different." She pulled out a small device from her sleeve. "I received this yesterday. An Etherian retrieval vessel will arrive in 36 hours. Their orders are to recover all quantum technology and eliminate all witnesses." Meridian's lights dimmed momentarily, the AI equivalent of contemplation. "A logic conflict has emerged in my primary directives," it stated. "Both scenarios result in loss of life and violation of the interspecies accord." Nolan looked from the AI to Vera, whose violet features were illuminated by the pulsing quantum core. "There's a third option," he said quietly, "but it would mean neither one of us could ever go home." Vera's eyes met his. "What are you suggesting, Engineer Drake?" "We finished the repairs, but not for them, for us."
The signal's warning. The Elysium Horizon hummed with renewed energy as the quantum drive stabilized, but tension filled its corridors. The human crew prepared the emergency shuttle under Meridian's guidance, unaware of the altered navigation coordinates Nolan had programmed into the system. In the ship's data core, Vera's fingers danced across interfaces as she purged research files and replaced them with corrupted data, enough to satisfy both Earth Alliance and the Etherian Conclave that no usable technology remained. "The retrieval vessel has altered course," Meridian reported, its voice echoing through the empty corridor where Nolan worked. "New arrival estimate, 18 hours. They have armed their weapon systems." Nolan slid from beneath the access panel. "How long until the drive is fully operational?" 16 hours, 43 minutes, at current integration rates." "Not enough time," he muttered. "There is sufficient time to join the human evacuation," Meridian observed. "The shuttle departs in 3 hours." Nolan wiped his hands on a cloth. "Not an option." "Because of Lieutenant Niori," the AI stated. It wasn't a question. "Because it's wrong," Nolan replied, though his thoughts immediately turned to Vera. In just 2 weeks, the Etherian scientist had become more than a colleague. Her brilliant mind, her subtle humor that emerged when they worked alone, the way starlight reflected in her eyes in the observatory, these weren't things he could quantify in a mission report. He found her in the cartography lab, surrounded by star maps. "I've identified a region in the Helios cluster," she said without looking up. "Unaligned territory, minimal surveillance. If we can reach it—" "Vera!" His voice halted her calculations.
The retrieval vessel will intercept us before the drive is ready. Her markings dimmed slightly, a sign of concern she'd learned to recognize. Then we need to delay them, or distract them. Nolan leaned over the star map. What about here? He pointed to a nearby asteroid field. If we redirect the emergency buoys to emit quantum signatures, they would investigate first, believing it's salvaged technology. Vera finished, her markings brightening. It could work. Their hands met on the console, and this time neither pulled away. For a moment, the impossibility of their situation faded against the simple reality of their connection, a human and an Etherian, both abandoning their worlds for a chance at something neither could name yet. "Why are you doing this?" Vera asked softly, "risking everything." Nolan's answer came without hesitation. "The same reason you helped me understand the quantum core instead of sabotaging it. Some things matter more than orders." The ship's lights flickered as another temporal distortion rippled through the lower decks. Meridian's voice interrupted. "Captain Chen requests all personnel report for shuttle evacuation." "Tell him we're finishing critical stabilization procedures," Nolan replied. After Meridian acknowledged, Vera's expression grew solemn. "Once they leave, there's no turning back for either of us." "I know." Nolan hesitated, then added, "I hacked into the classified mission files. This ship wasn't just researching quantum technology. It was testing if it could be used to travel between dimensions. That's why the distortions are increasing. We're not just fixing a drive, we're sealing a breach between realities." Vera's eyes widened. "If both our governments are willing to kill for this technology, then maybe nobody should have it. At least not yet." The sound of boots in the corridor signaled the approaching crew. Vera suddenly pulled Nolan into the narrow space between storage units, pressing him against the cold bulkhead. Her face inches from his, she whispered urgently, "Whatever happens next, you don't leave this ship without me, human." The fierce certainty in her eyes left no room for doubt. As the footsteps passed their hiding place, Nolan realized they had just 18 hours to outrun two civilizations and possibly save reality itself.
Her answer came not in words, but in the closing of distance between them. Her lips met his, soft, warm, and tasting faintly of stardust. The kiss deepened as years of tension between their worlds dissolved in the simple truth of their connection. Her arms encircled him, pulling him closer as if afraid he might disappear into the void that had nearly claimed them both. When they parted, breathless, the observatory had changed. Or perhaps they had. The artificial stars seemed brighter, more real somehow. "Proximity alert," Meridian's voice interrupted. "Etherian vessel has changed course. They have detected the deception and are now approaching at maximum speed." Reality crashed back around them. Vera's expression hardened with determination. "They'll be within weapons range in 3 hours." "Then we have 3 hours to disappear," Nolan said, taking her hand as they raced toward engineering. The quantum drive pulsed with renewed energy as they entered, its crystalline structure now stabilized but glowing with an intensity that cast long shadows across the room. "The drive is integrating faster than anticipated. Quantum stability at 89% and rising." Nolan's hands flew over the controls. "Meridian, begin power redistribution. Reroute all non-essential systems to the drive."
Beyond boundaries. The Elysium horizon groaned under another impact as the Etherian vessel fired a second warning shot. Displays throughout engineering flashed with damage reports and failing systems. "Hull breach on Deck C," Meridian reported calmly. "Emergency containment activated. Quantum drive integration at 97%. Nolan's fingers danced across the navigation controls. "We need 1 more minute." "We don't have a minute," Vera said, pointing to a holographic display showing the approaching Etherian ship. Its weapon systems were fully charged, targeting the Horizon's engine section. "They're preparing to disable us." A transmission broke through their communications filter, the stern face of an Etherian commander appearing on screen. "Lieutenant Niori, by order of the Conclave, you will surrender the human and all research data immediately. This is your final warning." Vera straightened, her markings flaring with defiance. "Commander Tarek, the quantum technology has been compromised. It's creating rifts in space-time. If you fire on this vessel, the resulting cascade could spread to your ship." Uncertainty flickered across the commander's face. You expect me to believe? Scan our quantum signature, she interrupted. See for yourself what we're containing here. As the commander hesitated, Nolan leaned close to Vera. Brilliant distraction, he whispered, completing the final launch sequence. Not entirely a distraction, she murmured back. The drive is altering reality around us. That's what gives me hope this will work. The Etherean commander's eyes widened as his ship's sensors detected the unusual energy patterns emanating from the horizon. What have you done, Nayori? What both our peoples should have done from the beginning. Cooperated, she replied. Goodbye, Commander. Nolan slammed his hand down on the activation sequence. Meridian, now! The quantum drive surged with blinding light, energy cascading through the ship's systems. The view screen showed the Etherean vessel backing away, but it was already too late. Reality itself seemed to bend around the horizon, stars stretching into brilliant streaks of light. Quantum transition in progress, Meridian announced. Dimensional coordinates shifting. Vera gripped Nolan's arm, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. It's working! We're crossing the threshold! The ship shuddered violently as systems overloaded, as the quantum energy restructured the very atoms around them. Warning klaxons blared, then abruptly silenced, as if time itself had paused. For one breathless moment, everything stopped. Sound, motion, even thought. Then, with a thunderous crack, the universe reasserted itself around them. The view screen cleared to reveal not the Cassini rift, but an entirely new vista, a gleaming nebula of blues and purples they had never seen before, dotted with stars and constellations unknown to either of their peoples. Location unknown, Meridian reported, after a pause that seemed longer than usual. No navigational references match database. Quantum drive offline but stable. Vera's fingers intertwined with Nolan's as they stared at the alien starscape. We didn't just jump to another location, we jumped to another reality. Or, perhaps, Meridian suggested, its voice somehow different, more alive. We created one. Diagnostic lights throughout engineering began to stabilize, shifting from emergency red to a calm blue. Systems that had been critically damaged now reported as functional, though subtly altered. The ship is healing itself, Nolan observed in astonishment. Not healing, Vera corrected, studying the readings. Evolving. The quantum technology isn't just moving us through space-time, it's adapting to our needs. They made their way to the bridge, passing corridors that seemed both familiar and strangely new, angles slightly different, materials shinier, as if everything had been reimagined by an artist with a slightly different vision. On the bridge, the main viewport revealed the full majesty of their new surroundings. A ringed planet loomed in the distance, its surface swirling with colors neither of them had seen before. Habitable conditions detected on the fourth moon. Atmosphere compatible with both human and Etherean physiology. Nolan turned to Vera, seeing his own mixture of fear and hope reflected in her iridescent eyes. No Earth alliance, no Etherean conclave. Just us. And whatever else exists in this reality, she added, a smile playing at her lips. A whole universe to explore, with no borders drawn between stars. Incoming transmission, Meridian announced. Origin unknown. They tensed, but the message that came through wasn't a demand or a threat, just a simple greeting in a language neither recognized, yet somehow both understood. A welcome. Vera's markings glowed with brilliant light as she turned to Nolan. It seems we're not alone here, but perhaps in this reality, differences are celebrated rather than feared. As the Elysium horizon oriented itself toward the beckoning moon, Nolan pulled Vera into his arms, no longer an engineer and a scientist, no longer human and Etherean, just two beings who had chosen each other above everything they'd ever known. Where should we go first? He asked, against her hair. Her answer was both a promise and an adventure. Everywhere. Meridian's lights pulsed in what might have been satisfaction as it set course for their new beginning, a ship named for paradise, carrying two souls who had found exactly that in each other, drifting among stars that had never known the boundaries that separated their worlds. In the endless expanse of this new reality, they were simply what they had always been beneath the uniforms and expectations. Explorers, dreamers, and now, together.